This is the 22-metre high Irish round tower at Abernethy, in Angus, one of the two Irish round towers still in existence in Scotland, the other being in Brecon, near Montrose. Ireland has considerably more, about 68 still standing, some for over 1,400 years. Many more have fallen or been demolished. Most have been built in burial grounds. This tower is thought to have been constructed by Celtic Chaldees monks in the early 12th century. This illustration shows the tower as it might have looked, with its roof and a ladder instead of the steps we have today. This is a cutaway drawing showing all of the floors with ladder access. In 1821, excavations inside the base exposed a skeleton and fragments of a light green urn, with a row of carving round the bottom of the neck. Below these were some flagstones, with many more human bones below, including 7 skulls, all male. These burials, apparently, predate the construction of the tower, but by how long is not certain. Why the monks lived, chanted and prayed directly above the heap of bones under the base of this tower is still a mystery to me. Perhaps the tower does not work properly now, and was originally tuned to accept only the healthy frequencies, or the incoming cosmic frequencies Dr. Callahan discovered negated these unhealthy waves. This is Kilmacduagh round tower, now leaning slightly, with its door 8 metres above ground level. Professor Brae, in his book on Ireland's round towers, points out that the space between the doors and the base of most of the towers have been filled with dirt, sometimes as high as the door itself, although this idea is not universally accepted. Dr. Philip S. Callahan, in his book Ancient Mysteries, Modern Visions, discovered that all of these towers were made from diamagnetic rocks, like basalt, sandstone, limestone, granite and clay slate, which are closer to semiconductors than conductors. He believes that they attract 14-metre long waves from the cosmos to help fertilise the surrounding area. Most towers have their doors placed inconveniently some distance above the ground, and Dr. Callahan believes that this was to allow the base of the tower to be filled with earth or rubble, to fine-tune the resonant cavity of the tower into a specific frequency. He also has the interesting theory that in Ireland they were placed in patterns on the ground, mimicking some of the major constellations, bringing the sky down to earth, so to speak, like so many other ancient cultures did. A map of Dr. Callahan's Ireland with the towers placed as the constellations Draco, Ursa Major, Cephus, Cassiopeia, Camelopardalis in Lynx, with Climacus as the pole star. Entering the tower using the rather strange key provided. And up the spiral staircase, built in 1982. Notice the string horses as I ascend, which give support for the floor joists. To the upper left of the picture is one of the 4 reared windows. To the right, the massive bell. Climbing a ladder onto the trapdoor on the roof. To this wonderful view. Back in the square you can see the Pictish stone at its foot. This is older than the tower and has been taken from a house in Station Wynd. The engraving is of a hammer and anvil, with what some believe to be a tuning fork in the middle. To the left is the much newer jug, used to tether criminals. On the other side you can see several putt-log holes which have been replaced by spacer stones. During my research following the ley lines over a large part of Scotland, I discovered, using divining rods, that every grave in the burial ground has a double spiral of energy rising to the surface. One clockwise, one anti-clockwise. The anti-clockwise sign is black, or unhealthy, and usually travels to the house and even into the bed of the interred. The two opposite signs leave the burial ground and wander around apparently at random until they unite, as you can see at the top left of this illustration. This knowledge was probably universal in the distant past. In China, for example, if a family member was dying, the family would take him or her to another room to die, otherwise the bed would become haunted. Also, they leave the burial ground, usually by the easiest route, through an open gate or broken wall, but find difficulty escaping through an iron gate. The masons have carried on the round tower, designed to the present day. This is the beautiful bank building in Creeth, Perthshire, and you can clearly see the similarities. The conical roof and even the raised door are evident here. Here we see just a few of the black spirals, in white for easier viewing, being attracted into the resonating tower. In this illustration I show the plan view of the waves, but in reality they reach some distance above ground and are also attracted into the other windows in the tower as well. Neither have I shown these lines as waves. The wavelength is about 2 meters. Dowsing is an art, not a science, and is open to misinterpretation. Several dowsers have found what they believe to be crossing underground streams beneath the towers, the same width as the door and windows. The wavelength and amplitude of these waves are similar to the energies from the burials. I am sure if they had followed them just a few yards they would have followed them back to the graves, as I have already mentioned. You can also see the difference in colour of the sandstone build, which may have been done in stages, or perhaps the builders changed their sourcing of stone. There are 2 round towers in Scotland, as I have previously mentioned, this one at Abernethy, and the other better constructed tower at Brae near Montrose. They have been placed on a ley line from the volcanic plug of Ayrshire, also with a castle on its summit, in a similar manner to the old graveyards around Scotland. These old burial grounds around Perthshire have also been placed on ley lines from volcanic plugs. Many years ago I followed crossing ley lines from many burial grounds in the rectangle at the top of this illustration. After many weary months of walking, I eventually realised that they were coming from the volcanic plugs of Stirling, Edinburgh and Ayrshire, all with castles on top. That rectangle shows the area I walked to discover this. Curiously, Brae, or the electric Brae in Ayrshire, is in a line with no less than 4 volcanic plugs, where cars apparently freewheel uphill and have to accelerate downhill. Notice in this illustration that the width of 2 of the volcanic plugs is almost the same as the length of this so-called gravitational anomaly. Perhaps there is more to this than a simple optical illusion. Volcanic plugs like these will be found by subsequent researchers to be one of the most important emitters of ley lines, as this illustration shows. The United States of America has all of its capital cities aligned with extinct volcanoes in the Galapagos, Bermuda, and the Azores, for instance. The powerful Federal Triangle of the USA is aligned to several volcanic plugs, an extinct volcano and the constellation Virgo. Scotland's capital city has its 3 main streets aligned with plugs, as has Creeth, and probably many more still to be discovered. In most burial grounds the black energies travel across country into people's houses, perhaps causing ill health, but there are 2 burial grounds in Perthshire which still host a very simple method of grounding the negative aspect of these energies. This is the burial ground of St Fillan's near the village of that name in Perthshire. This cut-marked stone, I believe, is an early version of eliminating these unhealthy energies, as it attracts all of the negative energies in this particular burial ground and dumps them back into the planet. And here we have another stone covered in petroglyphs or cult marks, at Fortingall burial ground, the site of the famous yew tree. According to various sources it is between 1,500 and 3,000 years old. Now, a view of Fortingall church and graveyard. And the yew tree itself. To keep the fairies happy, I followed an ancient custom and placed a monetary offering into one of the cult marks and then crossed the road to take a film of Carnamarb, the cairn of the dead, which marks the sad resting place of most of the occupants of the village who died here during an outbreak of the bubonic plague around the year 1300. Just a few minutes later I was rewarded with this beautiful rainbow emitted from the church just 250 yards away. Two of my books, outlining some 40 years of research into this fascinating and immensely important subject.